Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining. Let's make a start. Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Giravardhari Jai Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Giravardhari Shodanandana Vrajjana Ranjana Shodanandana Vrajjana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Agyan Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutabhadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavascha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvaitam
You're muted now, Natsu.
Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kant Radha Kant Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vindavaneshwari Ishabhanu Sutadevi Pranmami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatu Brihescha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo 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 Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Dishatarine Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasdi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Mukham Roti Vachalam Pangum Langyate Garim Yat Kirpatam Vande Shri Gurundin Taranam Paramanandamatam Shitaneshram Hari Om Tassat Narayan Namaskritya Naram Cheva Naruttam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jamaduriyat Nastha Prishabdishu Nitamavse Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nestaki. Oh, Hare Krishna everyone, thank you for joining. Let's continue to verse 23 today. Last time we were talking about the influence of time and symptoms of old age, as Vidur was explaining to Dhritarashtra that he had all the signs of old age, well, especially old age and disease, they go hand in hand. So just reminding him that you don't have very much time left. So make the most of this time. Don't waste it in what you have been doing all your life. now it's time for change for you. And prepare for death by taking shelter of the Lord. That's the only solution. Because no one else can help you. They can't help themselves. How will they help you as well? So let's see what happens in 23. Okay. So aho me yasi janto jivatasha yatha bhavan bhima pavajitam pindam adate greha palavat. Aho, alas, mahi yasi powerful janto of the living beings, jivita asha, hope for life, yatha as much, bhavan you are, beam of Bhimsen, a brother of the sisters, apravajitam, remnants, pindam, foodstuff, adate, eaten by, graha palvat, like a household dog. So this is interesting. Alas, how powerful are the hopes of a living being to continue his life. Verily, you are living just like a household dog and are eating remnants of food given by Beam. So this is interesting. The Beam is mentioned here because Beam is one who doesn't like his uncle, and he doesn't won't forgive him or overlook what he had done. And so he's saying that this is what Beam thinks of you, that you're just like a dog eating the remnants, that are just thrown at you. This is, it's not like thinking you had a respectful, worshipful uncle and they should give you a lot of respect. He's saying that they're just feeling sorry for you and throwing food at you to survive, just like you help a dog when he's hungry. So a sadhu should never flatter kings or rich men to live comfortably at their cost. A sadhu is to speak to the householders about the naked truth of life so that they may come to their senses about the precarious life in material existence. Dhritarashtra is a typical example of an attached old man in household life. He had become a pauper in the true sense, yet he wanted to live comfortably in the house of Pandavas, of whom Bhim especially is mentioned, because personally he killed two prominent sons of Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana and Dushasan. These two sons were very much dear to him for their notorious and nefarious activities. And Bhim is particularly pointed out because he killed these two pet sons. Why was Dhritarashtra living there at the house of the Pandavas? Yeah, he should be hating them. He don't want to see them. He should want to get away from them. But yet he's living there like nothing happened. Because he wanted to continue his life comfortably, even at the risk of all humiliation. Vidu therefore was astonished how powerful is the urge to continue life. This sense of continuing one's life indicates that a living being is eternally a living entity and doesn't want to change his bodily habitation. The foolish man doesn't know that a particular term of bodily existence is awarded to him to undergo a term of imprisonment, and the human body is awarded after many, many births and deaths as a chance for self-realization to go back home, back to Godhead. But persons like Dhritarashtra try to make plans to live there in a comfortable position with profit and interest, for they don't see things as they are. So profit and interest. So they want to just squeeze as much as they can out of sense gratification that they can achieve in their lives, as more than the body allows. So that's Dhritarashtra. But person like Dhritarashtra try to make plans to live there in a comfortable position with profit and interest, for they do not see things as they are. Dhritarashtra is blind and continues to hope to live comfortably in the midst of kinds of reverses of life. So that's the other thing. He's blind, so he wants people to feel sorry for him and just give him what he's asking, give him a comfortable life, because he's blind and he can't fend for himself. But he's blind consciously as well, that he should never allow this to happen. What has happened? A sadhu like Vidur is meant to awaken such blind persons and thus help them go back to Godhead. So now we're talking about the consciousness blindness. Once again, once going there, no one wants to come back to this material world of miseries. We can just imagine how responsible a task is entrusted to a sadhu like Mahatma Vidur. So Vidur is trying to awaken his brother, bring him to his senses. Dhritarashtra has no right to be living there after losing everything in the war. Yet he foolishly thinks that it's still his home and he has no other business. So he thinks that, I've always lived here, this is my home, nobody can take this away from me, no matter what. And he's not even thinking about spirituality, he's thinking this is the life and I will live it to the full, right to the end. But Vidur's got other plans for him. Let's see, 24. Agni nisrashto datascha garodarascha dushitaha iritam shetram danam yesham tadate asubihi kiyat. So Agni, fire, nisrashta, set, data, given, cha, and graha, poison, dara, married wife, and cha, and dustitha, insulted, hritam, usurped, Kshetram, kingdom, Dhanam, wealth, Yesham, of those that they Datahi, given by, Asubhi, subsisting, Kiyat is necessary. So he's just reminding him the kind of things they did to them. There is no need to live a degraded life and subsist on the charity of those whom you try to kill by arson and poisoning. You also insulted the married wife and usurped the kingdom and wealth. So he's done all these cruel things to them from where even when they were younger they were very badly treated, and yet his conscience is so dead that he thinks he has the right to be supported by these people. I mean, what kind of person is he? He has no shame whatsoever that what I did, I should be apologizing to them. Should be asking for mercy and then leave, but yet he's living like nothing's happened. That is just very shameful. But he has got been there to remind him, but it still makes no difference to him because he's just so attached to this life. He's happy when he weighs the difference, like being humiliated and having the luxury. He prefers the luxury. He doesn't mind the side effect, which of humiliation. He's thinking that's fine. I'll take it, because the reward is a lot bigger for him. The system Varna Ashrama religion sets aside a part of one's life completely for the purpose of self-realization and attainment of salvation in the human form of life. That is a routine division of life. But persons like Dhritarashtra, even at the very ripened age, want to stay home, even in a degraded condition of accepting charity from enemies. Vidur wanted to point this out and impressed upon him that it was better to die like his sons than accept such humiliating charity. 5,000 years ago, there was one Dhritarashtra, but at the present moment, there are Dhritarashtras in every home. Politicians especially do not retire from political activities unless they are dragged by the cruel hand of death or killed by some opposing element. Yeah, they get shot or something. To stick to family life to the end of one's human life is the grossest type of degradation, and there is an absolute need for the Vidus to educate such Dhritarashtras even at the present moment. So, we're just all too attached to material life, and we don't even think about that, what's the real reason why we are here. And power, wealth, family life, we just get too attached to them without giving second thought to this, the precious life, that human life that we have been given, and the time. As we were discussing last time, how precious time is. Even 1 second is very, very precious. You cannot buy time, and we waste it. We waste it like leaving a tap of water on. Just continue, just waste it. No use to anyone. Just leaving a tap of water in the sink sometimes, don't we? And the water is just wasted. The like is like that. We just leave the tap of time on, tap of life on, and it just continues to flow, and not really put into any good use. Anything we do, if Krishna is not involved and if God is not involved, then it's a waste of time. Any ritual we do, any knowledge we acquire, material knowledge, if it does not involve God, then it's all mundane and dry and waste of time. Because with time, that is all, you can't take it with you. You will not be no good. If you come back, you have to start all over again. Whereas spirituality, you can continue where you left off in your last life, and we can see that when young devotees are born, how quickly they take to Krishna consciousness. They just get right into it because they just start where they left off. Yeah. So that's 24. Our transition in life should be slowly accumulating to the point where we are dedicating all our time for the service of Krishna. We should be dedicating a life to the book Bhagavata and the person Bhagavat, Srila Prabhupada. So very, very important. So this Bhagavatam, every week it reminds us that please do not waste your time, because you have this opportunity. Do not waste it, because you got this chance with this material body, and you might not get another chance in the next body. And then if you don't get a chance in the next body, then you don't know when you will get that chance, and we might even miss the next chance if we don't take this one. So who's to know that we will do the rightful next time. We always put it off to next life, but how many times have we done that already? That's the question. So we have to be here and now. That's the important thing. Do it right now, because you cannot put some things, you just cannot put off till next time. Tasyapi tav dehoyam karpanasya jijivisho preti anichato jirno jarya vasasi iva. So tasya, of this, api, in spite of, tav, yo, deha, body, ayam, this, karpanasya, of one who is miserly, jijivisho, of you who desire life, preti, will dwindle, anichtaha, even unwilling, chirnaha, deteriorated, jarya, old, vasasi, garments, evil like. So despite your unwillingness to die and your desire to live even at the cost of honor and prestige, your miserly body will certainly dwindle and deteriorate like an old garment. So Vidur goes on to say, the words karpanyasya jijivisho are significant. There are two classes of men. One is called the karpanya and the other is called the brahman. The karpana, or the miserly man, has no estimation of his material body, but the brahmana has a true estimation of himself and the material body. The karpan, having a wrong estimation of his material body, wants to enjoy sense gratification with his utmost strength, and even in old age he wants to become a young man by medical treatment or otherwise. Dhritarashtra is addressed herein as Karpanna, because without any estimation of his material body, he wants to live at any cost. Vidur is trying to open his eyes to see that he cannot live more than his term, and that he must prepare for death. Since death is inevitable, why should he accept such a humiliating position for living? It is better to take the right path even at the risk of death. So sometimes you think, oh, I will take this Krishna consciousness seriously when I'm 50, when I'm 60, or when I'm 70. I will definitely give everything up, and really get serious down to it. I won't think about work or family or weddings and enjoyments like that. We just keep putting it off. That I will completely become like a one prasta at this age. But it's very difficult to give up, because especially as a grasta, we're living a life, and we're expected to do some things. Could be your grandchildren's weddings and all that. You can't say, oh, I'm a now one prasta, I can't go to my grandchild's wedding. So like that, it's very difficult. But I think at least internally, you have to be detached to a certain extent. Grastas are allowed, because we're not going away to the forest or anything like that. And grastas are not expected to go away into the forest, not in the Kaljug anyway. Right? So Brahmins probably could cope with sannyas. Kshatriyas, Krishna told Arjun that I'm not recommending you for sannyas, because you won't be able to handle it. It's not for you. You have made too many enemies, and even in the forest you'll be thinking, I should do this, I should do that. You are meant to rule. How can you just not do anything? You can't be inactive. Don't take sannyas, take tyag instead, which means sannyas means giving up all the activities which Arjun could not do. Tyaga means still do the activities but give up the fruit, offer them to Krishna. This is what he wanted him to do in the battlefield. That no sannyas, just do the activity and do it for me, not for yourself. Do it for me. So that's tyag. And Vaishyas not even expected to go to the forest or like that. I'm talking like previously. Now nobody's expected to go to the forest, because we all Shudras. That's why we're all Shudras in mentality in Kali Yuga, and we're not even expected to do. We Shudras are just meant to be Grihasthas. That's it. No brahmacharis, no vanprasthas, no sannyasas. Just be Grihastha and live a life of dharma. Follow your dharma, your Isti dharma, your Purush dharma, your Pita dharma, your Mata dharma, like that. Follow your dharmas, but do not forget your highest dharma, which is Sanatana dharma. Don't forget that. That is, just use this dharma to shift yourself towards the highest goal of Sanatana dharma, or at least balance them, Swadharma and Sanatana dharma. Balance these two. That is what's recommended for us in the Kali Yuga, to balance the two. But so you don't forget your responsibilities, material responsibilities, but you don't forget your spiritual responsibilities either. But try and shift slowly with age. As your material responsibilities reduce, you increase your spiritual responsibilities. So there's a method to this that we should follow. So human life is meant for finishing all kinds of miseries of material existence, and life should be so regulated that one can achieve the desired goal. Dhritarashtra, due to his wrong conception of life, had already spoiled 80% of its achieved energy. So it behooved him to utilize the remaining days of his miserly life for the ultimate good. Such a life is called miserly because one cannot properly utilize the assets of human form of life. So he's got very limited asset left now. Only by good luck does such a miserly man meet a self-realized soul like Vidur, and by his instruction gets rid of the essence of material existence? You cannot teach an old dog new tricks, as the English saying goes. So, if you start bhakti at a very old age, you got nothing to offer, and will you be able to accept, the system? You've been so used to living your life so differently. The older you are, the more difficult it becomes for you to adjust. Even in the material life, the employers are happy to take, university graduates in their early 20s, because they know they can mold them how they want them, what they want from them, and they have full of energy as well. If somebody graduates in their 40s or 50s, the employees are not so much interested, because they know these people, they're so much used to doing their way, and they will be argumentative, and they want to have the energy like that. They might have some experience, but still they prefer the youngsters who they can adjust to their requirements, and get them to do things in their way going forward. So like that. So older you get, the more difficult it becomes to adjust to things, to new things. So that's 25. So Dhritarashtra had the wrong conception of life. It says he had used up most of his life in sense gratification. It was important for him to now use his remaining days for self-realization. He says he's used up his 80% already. So he's got like 1/5 left. Miserly life means that he can no longer use the assets of his life in the service of the Lord, because he is very old. He really can't do very much, and he's diseased as well. So he's very limited in what he can do. Okay, finally, gat savartham imam deham virakto mukbandana avigyata gati jayat savaidir udharitaha. So gat savartham, without being properly utilized, imam this, deham, material body, viraktaha, indifferently, mukt, being freed, bandhana, from all obligations, avigat, gati, unknown destination, jayat, one should give up this body, saha, such a person, why certainly dhira, undisturbed, udaritha, is said to be so. So he is called undisturbed, who goes to an unknown, remote place, and freed from all obligations, quits his material body when it has become useless. So because he's a Kshatriya, he is now meant to be retired and go off and become a Vanprastha. Because he's not really much good for, in case of Dhritarashtra, he hasn't got anything to fall back on. Narottam Das Thakur, a great devotee and Acharya of Gaudiya Vaishnava sect, has sung, "My Lord, I have simply wasted my life. Excuse me, having obtained the human body, I have neglected to worship your Lordship, and therefore I have willingly drunk poison." In other words, the human body is especially meant for cultivating knowledge of devotional service to the Lord, without which life becomes full of anxieties and miserable conditions. Therefore, one who has spoiled his life without such cultural activities is advised to leave home without knowledge of friends and relatives, and being thus freed from all obligations of family, society, country, etc., give up the body at some unknown destination so that others may not know where and how he has met his death. Dhira means one who is not disturbed, even when there is sufficient provocation. One cannot give up a comfortable family life due to his affectionate relation with wife and children. Self-realization is obstructed by such undue affection for family, and if anyone is at all able to forget such a relation, he is called undisturbed or dhira. This is, however, the path of renunciation based on a frustrated life. But stabilization of such renunciation is possible only by association with bona fide saints and self-realized souls, by which one can be engaged in the loving devotional service of the Lord. Since surrender onto the Lord's feet to the Lord is possible by awakening the transcendental sense of service, this is made possible by association with pure devotees of the Lord. Dhritarashtra was lucky enough to have a brother whose very association was a source of liberation for this frustrated life. So just leaving, trying to get away from a frustrated life, it's not enough. People do that anyway. They get fed up, they leave home, run away. But that is not Krishna consciousness. So if they've left, then if they become detached from everything, left the material life, but then you must be attached to something. We always have to be attached to something, and not to another family or something like, oh, start all over again. This is the nonsense, but to Krishna consciousness. So if you've given up on everything, then you must attach to Krishna consciousness. Only then it's worth doing that. So that's 26. Srila Prabhupada recommended that we have powerful association of poor souls and cultivate devotional service, awakening the sense of transcendental service. So Vidur is hammering home to Dhritarashtra. He's told him about what a pitiful dog type of life he's living. He should open his eyes, well, not literally, but his consciousness that what are you doing? Haven't you had enough? Have you done enough damage? And now you're living such a pitiful, life full of humiliation. And how can you live? And not only are you living, you're making your wife live that kind of life. So, his wife obviously did not say much to him by the looks of it, that Vidur had to come and sort it out. She was happy to go along with him, whatever he was doing. She never questioned him. If she had, then we might not have the situation we have now. So I think, she's probably thinking she's been following the Istri Dharma by sticking. This is my personal realization anyway. So she's accepted everything is done, and he's had her 100 sons killed, and she's still with him. But is that? I'm just questioning that. Is that really Istri Dharma? That she just went along and she did not protest to him. She should have protested about the war. That we cannot have war. Look, they have Lord Krishna on their side. They're quite enlightened people, and we cannot go against the Lord anyway, and we definitely won't win. And plus, these people are our family. Why are we fighting between families? I don't know if she tried to make any sense to Dhritarashtra, but even if she did, he didn't listen to her. But she's still, going along with him, and she's not doing anything about her, spiritual life, trying to liberate, because only Krishna can give a liberation. She was a devotee of Mahadev, of Shiva, but Shiva cannot give you liberation. Only Krishna can give you liberation. So I really don't understand, how these people operated. When Krishna was there, manifested in his body, and they still could not see that Krishna comes for a purpose to help people, but these people really could not see that what opportunity they had, like the Pandav, Bhishamdev, they could see the opportunity, but these people, they really missed it, and now they're living like cats and dogs in the house of their enemies. So thank you so much, and let's hear from yourselves, please. Okay, let's stop sharing, and we'll go to Pundikaksh Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam. Hare Krishna, all devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All those to Srila Prabhupada. Again, powerful verses. Talks more about the human life, the purpose of human life, and the association of a sadhu and a real sadhu. So, if we look at Srila Prabhupada's life also, Srila Prabhupada, please correct me, Prabhuji, if I'm wrong here. Srila Prabhupada also was engaged in Gandhiji movement at that time. And in the college, he was guided by one of his friend that I met a sadhu, and definitely you have to meet him once. He's really a good sadhu, and that's where Srila Prabhupada thought, okay, I'll go and meet him. And Prabhupada met his divine grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. And in the one lecture itself, he understood what is the purpose of his life, and Maharaj also guided him by telling him about the purpose of life, and he identified his skills that you are very good in Sanskrit, you are good in English, so you have to go and preach in Western world. That's how Prabhupada got this inspiration from. And so everybody requires definitely an association in his life. And again, one more thing is like Prabhupada's father. The Prabhupada actually in the college days, I think Prabhupada wanted to marry a different girl, but Gaur Mohan Deji said that no, if you marry a beautiful girl, no, you'll get attached and you'll not be able to renunciate at the end of your life. No, you cannot carry out your spiritual practices. So that's how guided him again. So constantly we need guidance as well. We may in this life we have both happiness and distress. And when you get happiness, you feel like, yeah, I want to continue my life now. And when you get a distress, certainly some distress are so painful that we think I just want to give up everything. But it's not that possible. Like we have to control the mind in this Kali Yuga. We cannot run away from our duties or run away and stay alone in isolated place. But we just have to control our mind. But that is possible only in the association of devotees and continuous following the rules and regulations and following the devotional process. That's all, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah, that's the thing. It's true. So this is what we say, that having Krishna has unlimited opulences, and we want those opulences. We want beauty, we want wealth, we want knowledge, we want fame, like that. We want all these things, but when we have them, what are we going to do with them? Are they a boon or a curse, right? So, like from what you said, a female beauty is sometimes a curse to the female, because she probably have stalkers and people following her. She's very beautiful. A lot of people hassle her, right? But from what you just said, that it could be detrimental to the husband's spirituality as well, because he also be attached to her, and he cannot, in later in life he might want to go in spirituality, but because he's so attached to his wife, he can't, he has to, able to force himself to do that. So yeah, so we have to be careful with opulences, that are they good for us or bad for us? And many times, even wealth, you have a lot of wealth, you're too busy enjoying, you have that kind of circle, they just always talking about money, always talking about making more money, always talking about how to enjoy that money, that you really don't have time for spirituality. And yeah, we see it all around us. So yeah, opulence are dangerous to have, and simple living, high thinking is the way forward for a lot of people, I think. Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhu. That's a good point. Yeah, Kiran Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everybody. As always, very fascinating verses. We can see that Dhritarashtra not only was he blind physically, but he was also blind consciously. And this is the nature of the world we live in, that the delusion is such that we're blind to what is going on around us. We cannot make the connection between the Atma and the Paramatma that resides within us, and hence we can have a better quality of life. Despite Dhritarashtra's sons being killed, he still thought everything was fine. I can still live in Hastinapur with the Pandavas and still enjoy the luxuries of being in a household where there is opulence. He forgot, and how deluded he was, that Bhim had killed his sons, Duryodhan and his brother. There's a failure to recognize the naked truth of what is unfolding around you. But he's in absolute denial. This is the denial of the world, the denial of individuals who reside in the world. And perhaps it's us as well. We fail to see the wood from the trees. We fail to see the light of eternal truth. He had no credibility or honor. You think once you get slapped once, you'd walk away from it. But no, he was prepared to remain in the house of the Pandavas. And he was prepared to live like a dog, as it was indicated. And this is the nature of the situation. There are people who have very difficult and miserable lives, old age and disease, yet we continue to plow in bucket loads of pills to survive and exist mundanely. And if we had some Krishna consciousness, we would recognize that our bhakti will do the inner healing and the external healing. And that is where Dhritarashtra was a failure to recognize things that were unfolding around him. Vidur had to show him the wrongs of his ways. Dhritarashtra was consumed with having power, wealth, and be still titillated and be engaged with his senses, even though some of his senses were failing. Such a degraded life. He wasted, we waste time. Time is Kala, time is Krishna. We cannot continue to waste time as Dhritarashtra did. Vidur told him and showed him, smell the coffee before it's too late. Grasp the present moment before it's too late. Grasp the opportunity to be liberated before it's too late. We don't have to become sannyasis because we don't have those karmas from previous lives. But you can be a good Vaishnava. Just offer everything, your service, your bhog, your interactions, and everything, your every breath to Krishna. With a bit of luck, with a bit of mercy, he will glance at us. And if it doesn't happen in this life, at least we've tried. Just do your best. You don't have to be the best. And human life is for developing this consciousness. This human body has been given to serve a purpose. And the service, and that purpose is not accumulation of wealth and sense gratification. It is to have the kind of associations we have with each other every morning. And that will enhance our bhakti, enhance our knowledge, and enhance the service to divinity. To divinity. Be attached to Krishna and not to tinsel and trash. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhu. I'm just still thinking about, it's better to have a wife who tells you off than a wife doesn't tell you off at all, isn't it? From this, what I'm gathering from this, and really, it's nice to have a life partner who has their own mind instead of just following your thinking, whether it's wrong or right. They just like blindly follow you. I think that is wrong. I mean, wives are there. I think Patni Dharma should be about correcting the husband as well when he's going astray, and supporting that way instead of just being a yes person. Support him, just waking him up. She's basically doing what Vidur is doing. That was his wife's job. She should have been the one. She's there with him, and they get insulted by Bhim every day, but they're not only blind, they're deaf as well. They really. She should be saying to him, "Let's get out of here. What the hell are you doing here? I cannot see you. I don't care if I'm insulted, but I cannot see my husband being insulted like that." But no, she's with him through all this. It doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, it's nice to have a wife, who can just waken you up as well. Not too much, but a little bit, wake you up and keep you, going in the right direction. And especially if they can help you with spirituality, even the more better. Pureen Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Pranam. It's a very nice reminder for us not to be attached to this material life, but this is what we see. It doesn't matter how diseased somebody is, how bad the quality of their life is, but they're so attached to the life, they don't want to give up. And we are so fortunate to have Srila Prabhupada's literature with us and devotees like yourself, guiding us all the time. And this is like a Prabhat Fairy. In India used to have, used to be Prabhat Fairy to awaken people. So like these Bhagavatam classes are like that, trying to awaken us. And we see how Dhritarashtra is a Kripanai. We don't want to be like him. We want to have the qualities of Mahatma Vidur, and we need Mahatma Vidur in our life. And we are fortunate to have that association of all the devotees. But we see that in life as well, how people are shameless now. They don't really, there was a Punjabi saying my mom used to say, "Jithe dekhi tawa praat, utthe gujari sari raat." So people are like that. So wherever they will benefit, they will be there, because they've got no shame. So Dhritarashtra was just like that, because he just wanted to live a comfortable life. And despite being insulted and having his sons killed by Bhima, he was happy to do that. So, and this morning as well, Partha Prabhu, he picked up a very nice verse from Canto 6, Chapter 1, verse 19, where it reminds you that we just need to completely surrender to Krishna. And then even if we are not fully realized, we haven't fully realized Krishna, our sins are still, eradicated, and we don't have, to suffer. So it is just a complete surrender, and to have taste for Krishna's name, fame, his qualities, his pastimes. So yeah, Hare Krishna. And you picked on like the Swadharma and Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan Dharma is the most important. We have to do our duties, but we have to remember what is our highest goal, what is our real goal is. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Yeah, do our duties, remembering the forefront, our highest goal. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mataji. Radharani?
Hare Krishna, my pranams to all of you. Yes, these verses remind us that we have been awarded this human body, which is like an imprisonment. And shame that it's thought of completely opposite by everybody in this material world. We think that this material body is for enjoyment, but actually it is for a higher purpose. We have to remember that, and these verses, they remind us of this. And I really like that the role of a sadhu is not to flatter, but to give the correct picture, correct instruction to the persons who have come to them. But in this life, we don't like the people who say straight, who actually show us the mirror. We dislike them. And the Shastras, what they tell is completely opposite all the time. So yeah, we have to navigate somehow how to keep our minds fixed on the higher goal and to understand what we learn from these verses every day. And we have to prioritize our spiritual goals over our material goals. Let's hope that these verses, they keep us straight and narrow and keep reminding us. And also I really like that they're reminding us through the Dhritarashtra that we don't have to be miser to the extent that we only looking for the bodily comforts, how we can keep ourselves nicely. But realizations don't come cheaply. Realizations only come through the opposite, when you are surfing to the opposites in the life. So, and we learn mostly from when it falls on us. Then the self-realizations, they come up, because that's how human are. When you see somebody else suffering, you don't take the lessons deeply. But when it comes to you, then the lessons, if not 100%, still a good percent stays with you forever. And I think that's why in this material prison, there's only a little bit of flicker of happiness here and there, and there is sufferings all around. Because this is what Krishna wants us to become better when we leave this world, so that we can continue with whatever we have learned about bhakti in our next life also. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Well, that's very interesting, because are we any better than Dhritarashtra then? Because just mentioned flicker of happiness. This is what Dhritarashtra is looking for, that flicker of happiness. And he's happy to put up with the humiliation and denial as long as he gets his flicker of happiness. And this is what we're doing. We are here in the material world, full of three types of miseries which are bombarding us all the time. We get humiliated, we get insulted, and we have so many problems, mental, physical, other people, weather problems, saying that it's going to get cold, and I'm thinking, isn't it cold enough already? It's going to get colder yet. So like that. But we are happy to put up with all these just for that little bit of sense gratification. This is, we know better than the Dhritarashtra. We also need to get out of this place. The Dhritarashtra was like living in a prison, but he was happy because he's the enemy. He's living there, just letting him live, but he's not welcome there. He's not glorified in any way. So he's like living in a prison, but he's happy for the flickering happiness, and we are the same, happy with flickering happiness. So we are so blessed to have Srila Prabhupada's books, have Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam to remind us, and we have Vidur, Maitreya, Uddhav, Krishna himself. They're all advising us. There's so many saints, personalities advising us, and then we are discussing between ourselves. If that doesn't work, then what hope is there? So thank you all so much, and we'll catch up again on Wednesday. Granth Rashi Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Go. Hari Hari.
Hare Hare Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.